Welcome to the 10 in 10 podcast. I am your host today, Ashley Clark, and we are so grateful that you are here to meet an incredible person. Today I have with me Sheila Ozias, and she is with One Design Partners, a remodeling expert and interior designer with over 25 years of experience. And reading through this, you have such knowledge and such experience, but my favorite thing that we've talked about thus far is your passion and how much you care about the people that you service and help make their dreams into a real reality. I'm so grateful you're here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I love to dive into this and learn a little bit more about you and your industry and how long have you been doing this for, and how did you get here today?
So I started my education originally in aerospace engineering.
Wow.
And after I got to know hands-on what an aerospace engineering career looked like, I decided that I was not going to continue my education. So I took a career exploration class and decided I wanted to go into architecture, interior design, or graphic design. And so I switched and majors and started in 1989 going to college for architecture, interior design. So I graduated from college in 91. I got my first job in 1990 with an architectural firm that was in a consortium. Is that how you say the word? I don't even know. Consortium, of interior designers, architects, general contractors, real estate developers in San Diego. So I was really lucky to be around all these businesses that work together. And in 1994, I moved to Phoenix and started working for an architect who they also had a design firm. So I basically been in the business full time since 1991.
Wow, and such an interesting background that I bet would really help you in what you're doing and when you're looking at the space and having the different feedback and perspectives of everyone that you were able to work with when you are remodeling a home. Is there an important tip that you would give for someone for that process when they are remodeling their home?
Yes, I have a streamlined design process which works when it's completed. I find that a lot of people that are remodeling don't know where to start and what the process is. So my process in remodeling any project that is interior design or design is design, make the drawing of what it's going to look like, finalize those color selections, all of the elements of the project. Then you get a bid from the contractor, and then we get clear on that's too much, we don't want to do that, we can do that. And then we build. So from the very beginning, the design should be complete with all of the elements of the project there before we get started. So sometimes I show up at people's house and it's all about communication. I have them sign a letter of agreement, they sign off on the process, but what I find is that it's still not most recently, I had a client who's a realtor, and I'm like, we have to pick everything out and get a budget. And then her husband was like, what's the price? Well, we have to pick the colors of everything. So we have to have the total design package pretty much done or budgeted for. It really, then we're not going way over budget, all of those things. So it's communication and then also getting second opinions on things that I'm not clear about, but also with the client investing into any kind of project, whether it's residential or commercial, making sure we're all well informed about what is going on.
I love that you have that communication open and the open lines, because sometimes I bet people know what they want, or there are other people who have no idea what they want, and being able to talk about the process and here's the layout and let's talk about the investment aspect and things like that, laying out with open communication really probably makes the process more easy for them.
It does, as long as they understand the process. So even though It recently, the GC and the clients kept changing their mind every single day. And, I had done the project before in that neighborhood, that floor plan, and they were going back and forth, and I felt bad because I didn't know that they were so stressed out. But I'm like, we have to come to a design before the general contractor can price it out. And I will tell you that he's not pricing it out 50 times. And that's what was going. So we finalized the design, the selections, we bid budget, and then we demo and build. Besides that, with that communication on the pricing is the role of the designer and the general contractor. And so there's a thing, if there are any changes, then that needs to be put in writing and presented to the client. And that is not something that a designer would do. That's between the general contractor and the client.
Gotcha. It does sound like quite a process, and being able to understand that process seems like a very important aspect of it.
It is. Communication is key.
It is key. You talked a little bit about investment. Tell me more about that and how it ties into the long-term plan.
So, whether the project is residential, commercial, even multifamily, I've done a lot of mixed use and multifamily repositioning.
Okay.
What is the long term goal? Like, I have a client right now that just bought a home, and I said, what is your long term goal? This is going to be our forever home, and our children are going to inherit it, which is a different conversation from a corporate relocation of, what is your long-term goal? Well, this is not our forever home. We're probably going to be here 4 to 6 years. We want to make it look nicer. We want to add to the resale value, but we really don't want, to spend the money on the kitchen and stuff like that with younger children. So anytime you are improving any kind of property, whether it's residential, commercial, there's always a financial aspect to it. So I did go to real estate school in 1997. However, I do not have a real estate license, and I know most of the answers, and I know 50% of the answers, but they should call their realtor, their financial planner, and their mortgage advisor to get that information so we can make a financial plan for them. So part of that, just to bring up, a couple of weeks ago, I went to a home in McDowell Mountain Ranch, and the lady spent $175,000 on her kitchen.
Wow.
Did not update the flooring or anything else in the home, and she thinks that she should get all of that money back. Unfortunately, that she needed to spend another $100,000 to get the rest of the house up to speed. And so she made a very bad financial decision. She made a decision upon making an improvement in her kitchen, thinking that the resale, that she would get her money back, and it just wasn't there. So her realtor sent me in, and the lady couldn't understand why the home wasn't worth what she thought it was worth. So that's the thing, when you're dealing, most people's homes are their biggest investment. And if it's going to be a forever home, you can spend whatever you want. Let's get a plan together. We'll design it, price it out.
Yeah.
But if you're going to sell in 2 to 4 years, you might want to consider, your return on investment.
I didn't think about that. There's a lot of considerations that you probably have to account for before you actually get in and redesign and do all of those things. As you said, having conversations about long-term goals. Where are we going to be this? What is going to happen in the next 6 to 10 years? Or is it your lifetime goal, your lifetime home? And also having those other key conversations with other people to make sure that the decision you're making, because it is a big one, is the right one for what your long-term goals are.
Yes, for sure. Additionally, before my team and I put together a design, we always put together a scope of service based on the conversations with the client. So like remove and replace fixtures, I have a project right now where the courtyard pool, there were some draining issues. I had a conversation with the client. We made a plan. The general contractor approved it. And then months later, now it's a big deal because the contractor is saying, well, that won't work, when we would have had that conversation
Really?
in the first 90 days of that. So this is where having the right team and the communication comes. So unfortunately in this, the client is very upset. She's in with the general contractor, and the hard bid or the costs keep going up on the project. And there's going to be a liability issue. So it's all of that. It's this two clients that I've had this past year have really um, made me realize like that I have a lot more room for improvement for communication, and then also just having more regular meetings and sit downs, because I found that as soon as you say you have something going on, if there are different conversations going on between the husband and wife, one conversation, the husband and wife and the designer, another conversation, the husband and wife with the general contractor, another conversation, and then the husband and wife with their realtor, whatever, and really nobody's on the same page. And this is one thing that I have seen my entire career. It's very rare that it's happened with me. However, 2025, two big ones, and I'm like, I really wish that there was a podcast about this to help people to educate all of those things.
That's amazing that you said that. I know we were talking a little bit about maybe starting that podcast and talking about the process and everything that goes into it and the considerations, expectations, and everything for that process.
For sure, for sure. I was just speaking with Elisa with Scottsdale Mortgage Advisors, where at the end of the project, so there was a conversation between myself and the client, and then the client was running the general contractor. And towards the end, it got a little bumpy. And I told him, I said, I'm not sure that the owner knows that this is going on and these problems are here. Be calm, send him an email, and to preserve the relationship and get back on track. And it was incredible. And that's how things, when they get off track, as they do, get back on track.
Bring it on track.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for being with us today and talking a little bit about remodeling and that process. Well, if you want to reach out to Sheila, go ahead and tell them how they can connect with you for more information.
Our phone number is 480-955-1958. One Design Partners, ONEDESIGN partners.com. We have a form that you can fill out online. Give us a call, and we're happy to set up a complimentary discovery call and meeting on your property. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining in for this episode of the 10 and Ted podcast, where we prove that meaningful conversations and connections can happen in just 10 minutes. Please reach out to Sheila if you have any questions on remodeling or you're looking to make some changes in your own home. And until the next time, tune in for the next episode of the 10 and 10 podcast. Thanks.